Next one, has Andy won or lost?
I was like kind of zoned out. I was gone mentally. I couldn't, because I said when I was on the bike before I went out, I couldn't believe this happened. And then when I was on the court, I was just like looking at the ground.
Well, he's clearly drunk there, isn't he? He can't even remember it. What, was I playing tennis?
I think he won. He was
definitely won.
Yeah, he did win that one.
Yeah.
He did.
He's a magnificent, basically the worst person that ever lived. If someone
he was
shoots
my
me at
flatmate in Beijing, actually.
He was?
He was my flatmate in Beijing, and he's actually a top bloke. Really funny. And because I was at breakfast, and I just sat down, and he just came over and went, "Good morning," like really happy, cheery. And I was just like, hello? You're Andy Murray, you're not supposed to be cheery, and he is.
The thing I always wonder about those post-match interviews is quite often they've played 5 sets, haven't they? And you just think, if you're really shagged out and Gary Richardson sticks a microphone and asks you a question that isn't a question. That was a great game.
Yeah.
Well, of course you can say, it was it was good,
Especially when
futile.
you've got to speak to John Inverdale after that as well.
Yeah, I saw a lovely description of John Inverdale in the paper the other day. They said he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger after someone let the air out of him.
Right, now I'm going to play you a recording of a couple of tennis players, and I want you to name them 1 point for each. So, first of all, we're going to have Andy and Paul, okay?
Yes.
Listen carefully.
Well, it's hard to tell because somebody's abusing a kitten.
Well, I mentioned earlier I lived very near Wimbledon, right? And every year I have the same experience, which is that I go to the doors at the back of the sort of garden room convinced that there's a fox in the garden. And then I remember that Sharapova's on an outside court. So I think one of them's Sharapova.
Right.
I think
Which one? Yeah, okay.
I think which is the same as a fox on heat. It's a sort of, so I think...
Anybody else?
Come on, Gail knows this
I
sound.
think it's Serena. Serena
Which
Williams.
one do you think, Serena? Let's play them individually.
I think the deeper voice is Serena. That's Serena.
They think that's Serena. And
Yeah.
next one?
That's
You think that's Sharapova?
I think so, yeah.
Any ideas?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, well, that's 2 points for Paul. Okay, well, in fact, the first one is Serena Williams.
Yes.
Very good. And the second one is Victoria Azarenka.
They are quite similar. Now, I was watching Azarenka in one of these games, and what fascinated me about her is that she even does it with a dinky little drop shot.
Yeah.
And I think, well, that's completely unnecessary there, isn't it? That'd be like if a weightlifter, even when he picked up a Twix, went...
Exactly so.
Some of his family packs are quite hefty.
All right, then. So, Mark versus Gail. Gail's already proved herself very good at this.
Yeah,
Mark and Gail's... Any ideas?
Yeah, it's the one that we thought it was last time. Sharapova.
I think that Sharapova's more lyrical, but I suppose we would have... But I don't know, the second one could be... I don't know.
Is it? I think he sounds like Jack Douglas. Hey! Play it again. Hey!
I think one of them is Venus Williams.
Which one? Let's play them individually.
I'll
First
tell
one
you
is...
which one. That one.
Well, you were right with Venus Williams. You get a point for that. And second one?
Kvitova.
Djokovic.
She's not that...
Kvitova, yeah.
It could be Djokovic.
Kvitova.
He doesn't make that much noise in a post-match interview, does he?
No, that's true.
Kvitova.
No, it was Venus Williams and Elena Vesnina. Do you get this in badminton? Do they do it in
There was
badminton?
these 2 Japanese girls that just used to go hee like that all the time, and we're just like, our coach was like, just try and ignore them. I couldn't cope with it. It drove me crazy. Just said this hee. And it's that, no, because we lost, because all we could think of was this bloody noise. And so we started doing it back in the second game. So we started going, hee, back. So it was this 4 of us just going, hee, and it was just like the worst. I mean, someone should have taken it somewhere.
And that's
This is a proper champion.
That's why she got silver.
Yeah.
We've got one other one, which I think is the most idiotic of the lot, the Portuguese Michelle Larcher de Brito. Here she is.
tasered during his rally.
They could use that in the audiobook of 50 Shades of Grey, couldn't they? Radio 5 gets thousands of letters every week asking why there's so little snooker on. It's actually very difficult to capture the tension and excitement of a big snooker break on the radio. But we've come very close to it with this next game, Food Snooker. Gail and Andy, I would like you to build the biggest break you can in 30 seconds by naming foods or drinks with the colours in their name. You have to start with red and then go into a colour, another red, another colour, red, a colour. Each time you pop one and I agree that it's legitimate, you'll hear this sound. Every time you get one that I don't consider to be fair, you'll hear this sound. I wonder where we got that idea from.
That's exactly as it is at the Crucible.
Time starts now. Red.
Pepper.
Blackberry.
Red currant.
Blueberry.
Red Leicester.
Pink grapefruit.
Doesn't have to start with red.
What?
Doesn't have to start with red.
That's what you do in snooker, though.
No. I mean, the word itself,
Oh.
you know, it can be something
Oh,
red.
it can be just red. Oh, like apple.
What? Like,
Let's go back to the way you were doing it before. I mean, the word doesn't have to start with red. It could be something red or something red something. Do you know what I mean?
Like a tomato.
No,
Let's go back to that word. It can be in there now. But
Tomato
okay, go on,
should be
yeah.
green. Green tomato.
red wine.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to say red tomato.
all right.
Okay, how many did you get? 22. That, I have to say, we're very privileged. That's actually the current world record at this game. So, well done to you.
What we need to know before we start, at the end of that break,
Yeah.
did they miss going for a pot or did they play safe and leave it up by
They
the
play safe. They play safe, but I'm sure you'll be able to use it. You'll be fine.
Technically speaking, you don't end snooker matches with whistles.
No, you usually end it with people just traipsing out. don't
Just the
you?
sound of people empty the room.
Yeah, yeah. Right, now it's going to be the same to you.
Yes.
Okay, except you're going to have to do songs or bands. Off we go.
Simply red.
Black Rebel Motorcycle Club.
Got the rest out.
So what is it? It's groups, is it? It's not this.
Groups or songs?
Yellow Submarine.
Red.
I'll go for red. Oh, we've had something red.
Lady in Red.
Lady in red.
Lady in Red. Black Lace.
Excellent choice.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And Paul's stuck behind her. Yeah.
Red.
Difficult shot he's got to do.
The Beatles' Red album, but that's not really a song, is it?
Or does it exist?
It does, yeah.
It's sad when a great player goes.
I shouldn't have gone to the pub. I can't think of songs with red in them. Lady in Red, done it.
He's chalking his cue, but that's not going to
99 Red Balloons.
No, John Red Balloons.
Paint It Black.
Yeah.
This is a long 30 seconds.
Heaven knows it'll feel longer on the radio.
We're back to this red thing again.
Yeah.
Red Baron. There was a song called the Red
No,
Baron.
there was not.
Snoopy versus the Red
I'll
Baron.
give you that. I'll give you that.
Lily the Pink. Lily the Pink.
Let me think. Yeah. How many?
Yeah.
17. So that's the end of the food snooker round, which I think may be the last time you see it in its present form. So I think there's a whole show there on its own, quite frankly.
It certainly will be on its own.
Just while we're on the subject of snooker, we all know that snooker players love a nickname. You know, the Hurricane, the Whirlwind, the Rocket, all that sort of stuff. A few little bonus points here. I want to know if any of you know what Anthony Hamilton's nickname is. And I'll give you a clue. Buzz in if you like.
Hammy.
Lady.
No. Lady Hamilton. Excellent. Good. Keep going.
Emma.
No. I'll give you a clue.
Lewis.
Academicals.
I love that. He's from Nottingham. There's a clue for you.
Lace.
Robin.
No. The Robin Hood of snooker, is one of his nicknames. It's not the one we're looking for.
Sherwood. Sheriff.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, Sheriff.
The
Sheriff
sheriff.
of Nottingham.
Oh, no, of.
The Bays.
The Sheriff of.
Snooker.
Sheriff of. The Sheriff of Pottingham, of course. It's his nickname. Dear
That's
me.
not really a nickname, is it? Because that's too long.
It's a marketing, yeah.
There was a mafia trial in New York about 2 or 3 years ago, and this very old mafia guy was arrested, and he had a name, because everybody in the mafia had a name. He was 89 years old, and his name was Frank the Old Man Brady. Not Johnny Tight Lips or something, the old man.
He's been like that ever since he was 12.
Yeah.
These ones are obviously made up by marketing men, the Sheriff of Pottingham, that thing, and agents, people like that. I used to like the old ones. There was a player at Stoke called Neil Adams whose nickname was Shoes. And we were trying to work this out for ages why his nickname was Shoes, you know. It sounded a really, really sexy nickname. And many, many years later, I met Steve Bowles, who'd been in the same team as him. And I said, why was Neil Adams called Shoes? We thought that was a fantastic nickname. He said he turned up at training one day in a new pair of shoes. That was it. That was as far as it went. On that subject, do you know, Marcus Truscott, I think this one for you, Mark, do you know why he's called Banger?
He likes sausages.
He likes sausages. It's the correct answer. He's a bloke. Everybody thinks he's about him hitting sixes and fours and all that. Got a couple more for you. Marco Fu.
Marco Fu.
Foo Fighters.
Nope.
Mark, not very good at snooker Fu.
Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's the
Kung
thing.
Fu.
Q-Man Fu. Is his nickname.
That's good, actually.
It is quite good.
Fu-Man.
And I like this one very much. This is the last one. Nervous Traveller, famously, and Arsenal player Dennis Bergkamp.
Air Miles.
No. The non-flying Dutchman.
That's quite.
Oh, that was excellent.
That's quite good. You know, at Chelsea, they've got a player called Son Kalou, who can be erratic. And I was at a game once, and this bloke behind me kept calling him sorry. And I thought, this is probably a jokey nickname about him having to apologise all the time. But until I said to him, why are you calling him sorry? And he said, I'm sorry I haven't a Kalou. It's a Radio 4 listener's nickname for a footballer.
That's Chelsea for you, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all like that.
All right, then we're about halfway through. Let's have a check on the scores. Paul and Mark have some points, and Andy and Gail have slightly more or fewer. You're listening to Have I Got Sport for You on 5 Live. We'll be back after the latest news and sport. Next one, has Andy won or lost?
I was like kind of zoned out. I was gone mentally. I couldn't, because I said when I was on the bike before I went out, I couldn't believe this happened. And then when I was on the court, I was just like looking at the ground.
Well, he's clearly drunk there, isn't he? He can't even remember it. What, was I playing tennis?
I think he won. He was
Yeah, he
zoned
definitely
out.
won.
Yeah, he did win that one.
Yeah.
He did.
He's a magnificent. I'm basically the worst person that ever lived. If
You know,
someone
he was my
shoots me at him.
flatmate in Beijing, actually.
He was?
He was my flatmate in Beijing, and he's actually a top bloke, really
He is.
funny. And because I was at breakfast, and I sat down, and he just came over and went, "Good morning," like really happy, cheery. And I was just like, "Hello." You're Andy Murray, you're not supposed to be cheery, and he is.
The thing I always wonder about those post-match interviews is quite often they've played 5 sets, haven't they? And you just think, if you're really shagged out and Gary Richardson sticks a microphone and asks you a question that isn't a question. That was a great game.
Yeah.
Well, of course you can say, it was
great.
it was good,
Especially when
futile.
you've got to speak to John Inverdale after that as well.
Yeah, I saw a lovely description of John Inverdale in the paper the other day. They said he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger after someone let the air out of him.
Right, now I'm going to play you a recording of a couple of tennis players, and I want you to name them 1 point for each. So, first of all, we're going to have Andy and Paul, okay?
Yes.
Listen carefully.
Well, it's hard to tell because somebody's abusing a kitten.
Well, I mentioned earlier I lived very near Wimbledon, right? And every year I have the same experience, which is that I go to the doors at the back of the sort of garden room convinced that there's a fox in the garden. And then I remember that Sharapova's on an outside court. So I think one of them's Sharapova.
Right.
I think
Which one? Yeah, okay.
I think which is the same as a fox on heat. It's a sort of, so I think,
Anybody else?
come on, Gail knows this
I
sound.
think it's Serena. Serena
Which
Williams.
one do you think, Serena? Let's play them individually.
I think the